Welcome to Upticks. I'm Jake Falcon, the founder of Falcon Wealth Advisors and your host of Upticks. Today is our 82nd episode, Social Security Strategies. Corey, that's a mouthful.
Social Security Strategies.
Took me 3 tries to get this show kicked off.
Third time's the charm.
Normally, I'm right out of the gate. Perfect.
Normally.
Not today. Thank you for tuning in to Upticks. As always, Corey, welcome back to the show. Corey, you recently wrote a blog out there about Social Security. It's an extremely important, hot topic that you and I talk about all the time. So today, we wanted to go over some strategies that we implement for our clients to help them make some good decisions around Social Security. So before we go into it, do we even think it's going to be there?
Yes.
Okay. So I think there's been some studies that if the current government goes down the road that they're going down, that they've said that Social Security will be gone in 2034.
Something like that, if not sooner now.
Okay. So within 10 or 15 years. So what do you think is going to happen so that that doesn't happen? Or what needs to happen, I guess?
I think that the government will continue, I think the government will continue to raise the cap on individual earnings for people that are still working, the dollar amount in which they pay into Social Security. And I think, frankly, that younger generations, their full retirement age will probably get increased at some point.
Right. So I don't want any of our audience to be concerned about Social Security running out of money. Certainly if you're in your 20s, maybe you want to have a financial plan that's going to be solid regardless of Social Security.
Yes.
But if you're in your 50s or beyond, that's not something that I would really worry about too much. Certainly anything can always happen, but it's going to be extremely politically unpopular for Social Security to run out of money for people that need it the most, which are retirees. And also, real quick, retirees aren't going to stand for that, so they're just going to vote out any politician that says they can't have their benefits that they've paid into.
Exactly.
Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to add to that it's been recognized for quite some time now that there's issues as far as funding Social Security goes long term. But the reason nothing's changed is because nobody wants to touch it.
Right. But something will happen if they need to. Also, Americans are working longer. A lot of retirees are going back into the workforce, paying back into it. So number one here, if you're close to getting Social Security, I would say if you're 50 or older, probably not something you should be too concerned about. If you're under the age of 50, maybe you want to have a more solid financial plan just to make sure that you don't necessarily need it. But again, we don't think it's going to go away.
No.
Now, going into the strategy portion though, so if you are approaching age of Social Security, many people don't know this, you can turn on Social Security as early as age 62, are the current rules, and then your benefit will typically max out at age 70, meaning if you haven't turned Social Security on and you're over the age of 70, you're literally leaving money on the table. There's no benefit to delaying it anymore.
Correct.
So you've got this 8-year window, right, of when to turn it on. And a lot of factors play in. Why don't you go into a little bit of what your blog talked about? When do you advise people to turn on Social Security?
It depends, like some of the other things.
That's your favorite word.
I know.
I knew you were going to say that.
I realized, though, from writing this blog, real questions.
You should have been an attorney.
Real questions, real answers.
Just kidding.
That everything is circumstantial. But
true.
To the point that we're talking about, what I highlighted in the blog post was one, generally speaking, regardless of how much money someone has saved for retirement, that Social Security makes up a pretty significant portion of someone's retirement income, or it's a significant piece of someone's retirement. In fact, here's a pop quiz for you, Jake.
All right, let's hear it.
So I'll put you on the spot here. For single individuals that are Social Security age, what percentage of their total income, let me back up. What percentage of those people do you think Social Security makes up 90% or more of their retirement income?
Okay, so you're in your 60s and you say that...
Or older,
and Social Security makes up a certain... You're saying for people that makes up 90% of what they live off of is Social Security?
Or more. What percentage of those single people?
50%.
It's about 40.
Okay, wow.
But that's a lot.
Yeah, that's not our clients, obviously, typically.
Yes.
Doesn't mean it's a bad thing, right? If all you have is Social Security and that's what you're living off of. I didn't realize that 50 was pretty high, I guess, I thought.
And for married couples...
40% of people out there, it makes up basically the vast majority of their retirement income?
That's what the Social Security Administration estimates.
Wow.
And for married couples, it's a little over 20%. My point there either way, though, is it makes up something
Right.
for people, regardless
Yeah.
of the size of their nest egg.
Yeah,
And
so it is. So it's definitely something you want to utilize.
Yeah, it's important.
Certainly, if you have a nest egg, you can protect it by turning on Social Security. So let's just go into that. So if you're, what do you tell someone? They're 62, and let's just say they're retired. Okay, they're not going to work anymore. They're 62. What factors play into? Because I know you just said you can't. It's not cookie cutter. You're not just going to give an answer. So what factors play into that decision of whether they should turn it on or not?
So one, are they married or not?
Okay.
Do they have kids or not?
Okay. Why does the kids matter?
Because with your money that you saved, your retirement nest egg, you can name beneficiaries. So
Right.
whether or not you're married, the money that you've saved generally can go to your beneficiaries. And I guess it doesn't have to be kids for that matter, but generally speaking, I'm using children as an example. Whereas Social Security usually ends with the person or the spouse of the person
Okay.
who's collecting benefits.
Okay. So if you're married or not, how you want to leave your funds.
Yes.
What else?
How much money you have saved,
Right.
and what other sources of retirement income do you have?
Do you think this kind of came to me, but I think this actually holds pretty true. Tell me if you disagree with this statement. The more that your income is dependent on Social Security. So let's say that you need, I'll just throw out some numbers. Let's say you need $3,000 a month to live off of, and
Okay.
you're going to get $2,000 from Social Security.
Yep.
So it makes up about 2/3, right? Versus maybe somebody that needs $10,000 a month to live off of, but again, they're still only going to get $2,000. So if Social Security makes up more of your retirement income that's necessary, wouldn't you suggest then that it means that it's more important to maximize that benefit then? So
Yes.
right?
Yeah, to maximize it, yes.
So that's what I'm getting at. So you hear a lot about the AARP and some of these public websites out there suggesting that you should delay Social Security benefits until you're 70. And I would argue that that's probably for people that's going to be the majority, if not all, of their income in retirement.
Absolutely.
And the reason is that money is all you have, and it's got to last the rest of your life. So why wouldn't you try to get the most that you possibly can?
Yes.
The less dependent you are on Social Security, I would suggest the less you need to necessarily maximize it, right? Because you have other assets that play a role into your whole picture. Meaning, if you've got $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million, Social Security is not going to make up that much of your income. So why don't we protect that nest egg and maybe turn on Social Security sooner so that you're not drawing down your own money and not running out, but putting a less of a dent in it.
Yes. Because it's not rocket science, right? But of course, the less money you have saved, assuming you're able to do so, probably the longer that you can work, and the more you can delay, and the more Social Security income you can
Right.
collect later, the better.
Right.
But
So again, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
A general statement. So again, the more you need Social Security as far as your retirement income, the longer you should probably work, and the longer you should delay collecting it. The less you need it, you probably can afford to take it a little bit sooner. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people think that Social Security is not taxed, but it is potentially taxable, isn't it?
It is.
So it depends on how much retirement income you're getting, right, from other sources.
Yes.
On whether or not that Social Security is taxable.
Yep. The max amount of it that's taxable is 85% of it, which for our clients, a lot of the time, that's most of them.
Yeah.
The 85% of their Social Security is taxable. But if your income is lower or is almost non-existent outside of Social Security income, you might only owe tax on 50% of it or
Right.
less.
Right, so something you can do with your tax advisor, or certainly if you want us to help you crunch the numbers as far as tax planning is concerned, we could take a look at that and make sure that we keep your income below a certain threshold, so maybe your Social Security is not taxed.
Yep.
What else did you write about in your blog?
Well, I kind of used some of the examples like you talked about, but I also wrote about just more of kind of the overarching question and the concerns that people that are preparing for retirement have about managing retirement income. There was a study that Charles Schwab did last year in 2019, and they published the results of that this year. And they surveyed, I believe it was around 1,200 people that were within 5 years of retirement. And the majority of them considered managing income in retirement to be more of an anxious process than dealing with the financial burden of losing a job or buying a home or paying for college. In other words, managing
Interesting.
income in retirement and not running out of money is a concern among the majority of these people. More so
Wow.
than what people would consider losing your job to be a pretty
Yeah, that would be a pretty stressful
event.
thing, yeah.
People are more stressed about this.
Right. So you want to be careful out there, though. One little point you made me think of, just a little side note, is that a lot of these advisors out there will classify themselves as retirement income experts or specialists. Typically, they're annuity salesmen.
Yep.
Right. So be very careful. Now, certainly, retirement income is something you and I take very seriously, but we're not leading with that because we don't want to push a product and we don't want to scare people. Social Security plays in a role in a retirement income. So does a well-diversified portfolio of stocks and bonds. We like stocks that pay dividends, right? We like bonds that pay interest. We like trading options that generate income. So there's all these different ways that you can generate income, but don't necessarily go running to a quote unquote retirement income specialist, because to me, that's a huge red flag that they might try to sell you an annuity.
And clearly there's a reason that annuities are popular, or at least we hear a lot about them,
Because
people are afraid.
There's fear there, right?
One other point I wanted to make that I talked about in this is that the decision of when you start collecting Social Security should not be just an independent decision in and of itself. It needs to fit into a financial plan that you have in place with your advisor.
Nice one. That's a good point.
Because it can be very dangerous or frankly reckless to just make a decision on when you're going to start doing it without having an understanding of the impact that that'll have on the rest of your plan in your future.
Right. So at Falcon Wealth Advisors, we actually have a pretty in-depth analysis that we can do on Social Security, and we can show you taking it at different times in your life and how that impacts your financial plan. And that's a strategy or a tool that we're happy to bolt on to your financial plan to help you make some good decisions around that. So that's very good. So again, if you're in your 50s or beyond, I wouldn't worry about Social Security running out. Your kids definitely want to have a backup plan just in case that it does. The more dependent you are on Social Security for your retirement income, the more you should look to maximize that. There is no, cookie cutter way, but remember that Social Security may be taxable, so don't be surprised if you have to pay some taxes on your Social Security income. We don't like it, but that's just the rules. And then Corey made a really good final point here. Just understand that it's not a one-off decision. You want to see how it correlates with the rest of your financial plan. And like I mentioned, we do have a calculator. We can help implement that as part of your plan and run out some scenarios and see what it looks like.
Yes.
That's good. So again, reach out to Falcon Wealth Advisors. If you do have any questions, we're happy to run the numbers for you and help you make a good informed decision. But like I said, it's tough. There is no one size fits all. There's no right answer that's a no-brainer necessarily. Everybody's situation is a little bit different, and that's why it makes sense to have a personal relationship with your advisor who can help make you make some good calls.
Yep, and don't worry about what some talking head who's speaking to the masses, or even your coworker or a friend.
Right.
Don't worry about what
different. Yeah.
Their situation has nothing to do with yours and what makes sense for you and your family.
Yeah, very good. All right, now to our fun part here. We did do another poll out at Facebook, so just a quick plug for our commercial here. If you are watching this on YouTube, thank you. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, we certainly appreciate it. Any feedback or positive thumbs ups are very much appreciated. We're starting to get a lot of traction with Upticks. This is our 82nd episode. So again, if you're out there on social media, you can find us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Corey and I are out there on all the social media platforms as well. Okay, so enough for the commercial. Now on to the Falcon Wealth Advisors sponsored Bird of Prey poll. My new thing that I started. So again, we went out there on Facebook and we asked all of our followers if they planned to travel more in retirement. So how many do you think said yes versus how many no? And you just give me a percentage because I don't expect you to know how many people participate. We had a good amount of participation. But the question was, would you like to travel more in retirement? Yes or no?
Yes. And I'm sure the answer is a resounding yes.
What do you think?
The majority.
Throw out a number.
95%.
It's 100%. 100% of our poll said yes. And we didn't have one or two people. We had 27 people participate. So it wasn't like it was only two people.
No surprise there.
Really?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess so. That probably is. When I'm sitting down with a new client and I'm asking what their retirement looks like, I hear travel's the most important thing. Would travel be the most important thing to you? Or, yeah, would you do more travel? Maybe not necessarily the most important.
Yes.
You would?
I don't
know if I would.
Why's that?
I don't like to travel.
Fair enough.
My wife loves it, and I love seeing places with her.
Why don't you like to travel, though? Let's talk about that.
I'm a little bit of a homebody. I like my little bubble. I've got, I live close to my office. I like to work. I like to play golf, and I like my house. I like my own bed.
Right. You started that though with I live close to my office and I like to work. If neither of those things matter anymore.
Okay, so I'm retired. I'm not working.
You're not.
I don't know. Maybe. I just don't like. I don't like hotels.
Okay, fair enough.
And I don't like Airbnbs.
So that's why you don't like traveling.
I think it is. I think there's something. I don't know. I don't know why that is. It's a weird. Maybe I need to get over that. But I like seeing cool. Like we went to Rome on our honeymoon, and I love seeing the Colosseum. So when I get there, I think it's cool. Maybe it's the whole. Maybe I need to learn to enjoy the destination or the journey to the destination a little bit more, because it's the airports and you got delays and luggage, and you're staying in a hotel, and is the room clean or not, and
Yeah. Now, granted, though, I think Europe is one thing, but if you're staying in the United States, I feel like a lot of people that are retired that travel, they like to do it by car or even RV
that I could get behind probably.
because they can do it at their own pace. You're not fighting those crowds.
A little bit more control.
Yeah, it's maybe less stressful for some people. And again, if the amount of time that a trip takes is of no concern to you.
Yeah, if you're not in a hurry, who cares?
For seeing more
Yeah.
along the way.
Now, what would be cool, I think, is to have a second home. I think a lot of my clients have that.
Sure.
So if you count that as travel, because technically I guess you'd be traveling from one home to another.
Yeah.
That I think I could really enjoy.
Because then it's your house.
Yes, because then I'm going to somewhere it's familiar.
It's not someone else's bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think I would like. So if that counts as travel, I don't think it does.
Yeah, I think it does.
I guess so. Travel is technically A to B, right? So
I think so.
So anyways, so yours is, where would you go real quick before we wrap up our show? If you were retired, where would be the first place you'd say, I've always worked, I always wanted to do this? Somewhere you don't think you're going to go now
okay.
that you would save maybe for retirement.
Probably Australia, New Zealand.
Really? That's far.
Right.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to take the amount of time off, so you could go down there for a month or whatever in retirement and just really enjoy yourself. Huh?
I have a client that retired like 2 days after they retired. They went on a month-long cruise to Australia and New Zealand. I think
Wow,
that's pretty cool.
Good for them.
I don't know if I'd want to do the cruise part of it. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. But I just think that would be an awesome trip to take. But you can't really do that in a week.
Right.
Right.
And you could take more time off, obviously, but
Sure.
Interesting.
I'm like you though. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I would go if I was retired. I'd probably be, I'd probably find that second home wherever it is and be spending time there. Even if it was in Europe, like let's say I had a place in Italy in Europe,
sure.
So,
Maybe I'm less ambitious, but I thought this was pretty neat in that I'm I'm a self-described dorky baseball guy, right?
Right.
I like baseball, and I met a man and his grandson at Kauffman, I think last year at a game, and he was taking his grandson he was going to have his grandson see every ballpark
that's cool.
in the United States.
I know a lot of people I don't know a lot of people, I've heard of that before. Would you do that?
Yeah, I think that'd be really
How
neat.
many ballparks are there?
30? 30. There's
That's a
32
lot.
teams in the NFL, right? 30 teams in baseball. I always get those mixed up. I think it's 30.
It's about 30 different ballparks. Would you go to ones you've already seen? Probably not, right?
Probably not.
So you just the ones you haven't. 30 is a lot.
It is.
But it's a long season too. You could
Right.
probably do it all in one season if you were retired.
Right. Wouldn't have to, though.
Right. All right. That's enough for our tangent. Thank you all for tuning in, obviously, and participating in our poll. If you're not out there and you don't like our Facebook page, please feel free to go out there and put a thumbs up. And you too may be able to participate in the next Falcon Wealth Advisors Bird of Prey poll. All right. That's all the time we have for today. Again, my name is Jake Falcon. You can find me at jake@falconwealthadvisors.com. And Corey?
Corey Bittner. You can find me at you can find me at Corey@falconwealthadvisors.com is my email address.
Perfect. Thanks again for tuning in, and we hope you all have a great week.